I'm Dr. Roopa Salin, Professor, Department of Practice of Medicine from Yenepoya Homeopathy Medical College and Hospital. So today I'm here to discuss on the topic, the need of OSCE in homeopathic medical education. So moving on to the specific learning objectives for the section. So today I'll be explaining regarding the definition and the concept and the components of OSCE and explain the rationale for introducing OSCE in the homeopathic medical education and how it is differentiated from the traditional methods of clinical and viva assessment, and how to identify the competencies in homeopathy that can be effectively assessed through OSCE, and how it can be appraised, the role of OSCE in promoting the competency-based learning and how it can be reflected in the homeopathic education. OSCE is not a new term in the NMC curriculum guidelines and all, but OSCE is a new term in the NCH guideline. So when there was a vast shift from the Central Council of Homeopathy norms to National Commission of Homeopathy, so they have taken major revisions in the educational regulations as well as in the curriculum. So here the NMC, the National Commission for Homeopathy, is focusing to make a homeopathic undergraduate into a homeopathic physician who is capable of performing as a professional with competency. So here they have given more importance on the competency-based education when they have made a revision in the syllabus curriculum to make them more competent in their profession. So what is an OSCE? So to explain in a term, it is an objective structured clinical examination. So where a structured performance-based assessment will be given to each student, in which the student will be rotating through different stations and they will be performing each clinical task which will be observed and it will be scored through a standard checklist. So here you will be having, whenever an OSCE is being done, you will be having an observer will be there and an assessor will be there. So the observer's duty will be there for the time bounding of the OSCE and the rotations, whether it is happening on time rotations, everything will be coordinated by the observer, while the assessor will be focusing upon the checklist, the standard checklist. So how it is being marking. So according to the clinical skill performance of the students, the markings will be done in the standard checklist. So the key features of OSCE, so there can be multiple stations or there can be one station depending upon the OSCE scenario what you are fixing up. So next we need to have standardized patients or simulators. So the standardized patients we are getting in bedside, that will be well and good, so that the skill enriched learning can be more competent. And it is a timed task, as I already said. So you can fix up the time based upon the OSCE scenario what you are giving to your students. And there will be predefined checklist with the marking rubrics. The rubrics mentioning here is the marks what you will be availing for the students in each checklist or in each parameter. And each student will be getting the same task under the same conditions. So rather we are speaking regarding the old school rationale of assessment. So there the students or whenever we are going for an evaluation or an assessment, the questions will be same, but the students answering will be different. And when it is going to a multiple hand of the teachers, so when they are giving the assessment or the marks, it won't be remaining as same. So here in OSCE, the student will be already knowing what they have to perform as a clinical skill, or even you can perform it as a practical skill as well. So when you are saying for a practical skill, it will be termed as OSP, Objective Structured Practical Examination. So as a faculty from a clinical department, our department used to focus upon on the objective based clinical examinations. So what is the purpose of OSCE? So now these all terms will be very much familiar, the Miller's pyramid, everything, because nowadays all the councils are focusing more upon the competency based education system. So here the purpose of introducing OSCE is to assess the shows how level of Miller's pyramid competency. So what are the advantages? Why we need to have an OSCE with us? Okay, so it is more of the same objectives. So the student will be knowing the objectives, what they are going to perform or what they are going to achieve with the OSCE station. So they will be knowing it prior, and it is little bit more reliability comparing to the old school methodology. And here the broad skill coverage will be done. Okay, and it will be done every time in a safe environment. So either you can use the live patient or it can be a simulator. So it can be done in a safe environment. And the immediate feedback. So then and there only the student, already we are providing the student a checklist. So prior to 1 week or something, you will be providing the checklist. So they will be knowing what they are supposed to do and how much marks they will be gaining in a particular questionnaire or particular parameter. So the immediate feedback, if they couldn't perform in bedside when a live OSCE is being done in the station, if they are failing to perform, so then and there the student is knowing that they will be lacking their marks in that particular parameter so that they could improve well. So the immediate feedback analysis can be taken and it will be a mode of learning for them as well. Okay. And the alignment with competency. So as I already said, with the curriculum, most of the curriculum and the councils, they are shifting and focusing to the competency based curriculum. So it is being prepared based upon the alignment with the competency based curriculum. And if we are going through such kinds of assessment, obviously there will be better standardization across all the institutions, and which will be giving or enhancing our student will be more motivated and their confidence level also will be increased. So whenever we are introducing a new methodology or a new curriculum, or we are doing anything change in our curriculum, so in all the educational institutions there will be majority of challenges and considerations. So when we had a drastic shift in the last year in our curriculum, even there were challenges and consideration, but we have overcome and we have started doing with the OSCE, and we have got a good result with our students' feedback. So in that, the first one to think of is obviously the infrastructure and the resources. So we need to have infrastructure. So in this particularly what we need is simulation labs or standardized patients we need to have, or either the mannequins. If you are focusing more upon any clinical examinations of a particular system or anything, you need to have the different mannequins of the kind. And you need to have a clinical skill lab, functioning clinical skill lab within your institution, which will be suitable for you to overcome these challenges. And the funding. So for the infrastructure and the resources, the funding is a main station. So for getting the consumables, and you need to have enough manpower to do the stations. For example, when you are going ahead with multiple stations, as I already said, so either you can focus upon a single station or a multiple station. So when you are going on with a multiple station, you need to have required manpower with each station. So each station should have an assessor there, and each station should have an observer even. So you need to have manpower, and this should be run in rotation wise in the same, because each student should be given with the same standard timing here. So, and the second part when we are thinking will be the faculty or the examiner training. Your faculty or the examiner, whomsoever you are directing them as an assessor or as an observer, they should have a proper training regarding how to do with the checklist. The checklist reliability should be there, the marking should be proper. Okay, so why here, if the examiners or the observers are being different, okay, so one person may be thinking of giving the checklist in different ways, so the markings may go wrong. So they should have been given a proper training before going on with the OSCE performance. This is also very important in this part. Then the standardization and the validity. So a valid checklist should be there. So when we are speaking to the NCH norms, so for homeopathy, there is, as of now, there is no valid checklist which is readily available for us for your reference. So as we have come to a drastic change just 1 year back, it is our duty, we have to prepare checklist by our own as per the need for our students. So I have just quoted some examples in which you can focus more, and even the examination sections also you can add. Okay, so the different stations in homeopathy when we are speaking, you can focus either on the case taking part, or on the repertorization part, or the remedy selection part, or the patient counseling even, or even you can focus on different clinical examination techniques. So if you are focusing on the clinical examination, the different steps of exam, whichever system you are focusing on, so the examination steps you can fix up. For example, if inspection, palpation, percussion and auscultation you're finding as the 4 major category. So in this, the parameter markings rubrics you can fix up, and the time also you can fix up, how much time your student need for explaining the clinical skill effectively, that you can fix up the parameters. And this can be already conveyed, the checklist should be reaching your students at least 1 week prior for their preparation time. So we should give time even for their preparation, then only they can be performing their clinical skill very well. So the next thing is the time and logistics. As I already said, the time we can fix up based upon the OSCE station what we are planning up. So, but the time what we are fixing, it should be equal with all the students who is going ahead with the each student rotation in all the OSCE stations. And the student anxiety and acceptability. So, some students, even though we are already informing them also, when they are coming to a clinical oriented skill, when they are with the live patients, they will have some anxiety. So, it will be always better when you are introducing a new thing, just go on with a mock test. So here for the OSCE also, you can just make your student go through a mock OSCE scenario in which they will understand where they were lacking and how they can overcome. They should make it by their own. Okay, so you can, just to prevent the student anxiety, you can go on with a mock OSCE scenario first, and after that you can go on with the live assessment of OSCE. Then the cost concerning. So the expenses, it will be depending upon the OSCE stations what we are providing. So it will be always better as there is a new change has happened. So whatever is available resources within the institution, you can go ahead with the OSCEs. You can prepare it by whatever is available resources available within your institution. So what are the expected benefits which we are going to get in the homeopathic medical education with OSCE? So here we can say our graduates will be more competent in applying the knowledge in the clinical settings, and there will be better preparedness because we are already giving them. So when they are about to go outside after the internship, they will have a real world patient care outside. So before that, they will be having a standardized assessment. So they will be more competent enough in their performance. And obviously, it will be encouraging our student-centered learning, and their self-improvement also will be done. And it will be reinforcing the shift of rote learning to competency-based. So the old school methodology of learning will get shifted to a competency level learning. And it will enhance the credibility of homeopathic education to a broader health system. So here I'll be showing a statistical result in which what we have performed in our department. So here you can see the scenario, the feedback was taken in a linear scale from points 1 to 5, and we have given a 10 questionnaire of feedback for them, and it was a batch of 100 students, and we have taken a random sampling methods, and 30 students have given the responses out of that. So you can see in this all skill the 10 questionnaires we have given. So it is based upon the OSCE station what you have performed. It is the examination of shoulder joint. So that was the OSCE station what we have given to our students. So as per the checklist, these are the parameter of questionnaires after the OSCE assessment what feedback we got. So here you can see in the different slides, like we have got an average points of 4.5 in all the questionnaires. The average has come to 4.5 level. So it shows well how much this is supporting our students in the competency based education proportion. So the clinical skills, how much they are able to demonstrate the clinical skill, and including the performance as well as how much they have become competent. So the strength and weakness even. So how much they are going to get the strength and weakness. They'll be knowing where they were lacking and how it can be improved in the next assessment. So that already they'll be knowing, so that the competency level will be little bit high in the next cycle. So moving to the conclusion of the section. So the adoption of this OSCE by the new NCH curriculum, it aligns strongly with the goals of the competency-based education. So there will be challenges, but A well-planned implementation can make OSCE a powerful tool to raise the standard of the homeopathy graduates. And early pilot study and continuous evaluation and the institutional support always will be a key successful integration. So these are the references for my section. Thank you all.